Let's take a moment to reflect on gratitude and the power of shifting our perspective. Sometimes life can feel like a series of obligations, things that we have to do. But what if we flip that mindset? What if we focused on the fact that we get to do these things instead? You don't have to work out. You get to move your body, build strength, and improve your health. You don't have to prepare meals. You get to fuel your body with nourishing food. You don't have to show up for the people in your life. You get to connect, love, and share meaningful moments with them. That simple shift from have to get to reframes everything. It transforms everyday tasks into opportunities. It reminds us to appreciate the things we often take for granted, the ability to move, grow, and live fully. Some examples. Instead of, I have to go to the gym, I get to work out and make my body stronger. Instead of, I have to cook dinner tonight, or what are we going to cook for dinner? I get to prepare a healthy meal for myself and my family. Instead of, I have to wake up early tomorrow, I get to start a new day and chase my goals. Instead of, I have to work tomorrow, I get to use my skills and contribute to something meaningful. Instead of, I have to eat clean, I get to fuel my body with foods that make me feel the best. So gratitude is about recognizing the privilege of what you get to do every day, no matter how small or routine it might feel. When you embrace this perspective, life becomes less about obligation and more about opportunity. So as you go about your week, ask yourself, what do I get to do today that I can appreciate? Take that gratitude with you and let it guide your actions, your mindset, and your choices. Welcome to Kaiji Vision Studios in Stamford, Connecticut for the Dialed In Podcast, Episode 3 with Marc Vaccaro and Paul Diaspera. Look at us changing the name of the podcast, Episode 3.
We got to pivot. We got to make a little pivot.
That was a smooth pivot.
Halftime adjustments.
I mean, who cares, right?
Yeah. I think
it's just
great.
a name.
I think it's great. That's what I said.
They can't stop the mission. They can't stop the vision.
No.
We'll figure out all the other details on the back end.
Yes.
So we changed the name. It's Dialed In because I love Breakthrough Bros, but that's about us, and Dialed In is about where we want the listener to go.
You're always going to be my breakthrough bro.
And I still want to kind of call you my breakthrough bro. I think that's a cool little phrase.
Yeah, I think I'm going to stick with referring to you as that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, I just want to let you know I got your Christmas card in the mail. You were the first family to send a Christmas card.
Oh, wow.
I put it right at the top, right by the tree, and such a beautiful family. I know I've known you since you were in middle school, probably. So I'm really proud to watch you and your family grow. So awesome. That was beautiful, and you'll be receiving mine later in the week.
My wife's gonna be happy to hear that because I was no one really cares about a Christmas card. I was like, don't worry about it, because she was working on it. But I'm happy to hear that you enjoyed the presence of it on your fridge.
They go a long way, and they serve as reminders to who your loved ones are.
I agree.
You're a loved one.
Yeah.
Before we start, I just want to hear.
As you are.
Thank you. I just want to hear how you're doing, how you're feeling.
Doing good.
Yeah.
Feeling good. Getting ready for the holidays. Went for a nice long jog the other night.
I saw that.
Yeah, felt good. I haven't jogged like that in a while. Yeah, I needed to do that.
Hazardous conditions too, it looked like.
Yeah, I reflected upon that when I was done. A few people are asking me, were you wearing like a reflective jacket? I was like, no, I was just out there. They were like, yeah, dude, that's dangerous.
I told you to be careful.
Yeah, I know.
But you had to remind me that you do this.
Yeah.
You don't just train other people. Like, you put in the work as well.
Yeah, and then it was raining, and I was like, oh, it's raining out. I'm gonna put my daughter to bed. But I'm like, no, I said I'm gonna go for a run. I gotta go. So I just put everything on, suited up, and just started running.
There you go.
And I went no matter what.
You're loving yourself by doing that.
Yeah, I felt good. I felt outstanding when I got back home.
That's awesome, brother.
Yeah.
I feel so good.
Yeah.
I just feel so blessed, man. I feel so grateful every single day. It's something I wake up with, and I never forget about it, and I keep it with me the entire day, no matter what happens throughout the day. Just having that, wow, like we're alive you know, and you can't lose track of that. So that really powers a lot. Just the family, you know, is a bundle of joy. My family makes me cry a lot.
Yeah.
Like I cry happy tears.
Yeah.
I cried happy tears this morning.
Yeah, it's good.
You know, just because it's like an explosion of this internal joy.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I'm proud of that. Like I'm proud of crying happy tears. And, you know, I'm proud of the transformation that I just made. You know, I feel like I promoted myself because I promoted my health. You know, a lot of us are looking for work promotions or move up in salary or status, but it's like, what about promoting you and your own health? So like, I just feel really good about that. I'm proud of myself, you know, refereeing. I had a game yesterday, and now my new shape, it's fun being like on the court in the best shape of my life. So I feel like I'm hitting my pride there, and like crown refs just brings me so much joy. And now here with you. So I guess, you know, my point is like, I feel super happy and healthy. And I think people like me and you who are happy and healthy, it's our obligation to like share about it, about how, you know, why we feel this way, what we do to allow us to live this kind of life, you know, because I look at happiness as a skill. I realized this like 5 years ago. It's like, you know, happiness is a feeling that we have, and it can come and go, but to learn the skill and the craft of being happy, it can allow you to stay in that state forever.
Yeah, and I think everyone's very distant from, you know, the health aspect of, you know, how they feel and like what you're feeling now. You know, I felt that really intense in college, you know, exercising a certain way, you know, my variables were controlled, you know, it's a little easier then, but that's what I want you to feel, because it's an awesome feeling and it's radiates onto everyone. You just carry yourself differently when you're feeling really healthy like that. And then, you know, you start looking around like, wow, like this is how I should feel, you know? So I that's what I want for people. It's awesome, you know?
And I'm just so excited about what me and you are about to do. You know, I was telling you in the gym the other day, like, you know, there's been other times in my life I've been super pumped about something, but I feel like we're on the brink of we're building this vehicle and we're getting all the parts and the mechanics and the operations of it down. So then we can put it on the road and it's just going to go.
We're in the cockpit right now.
We're in the cockpit. And it's such a selfless mission because we just want you to find that wellness breakthrough and to because I know that everybody who's listening in who wants to have a transformation, they can actually all 100% of them have their own unique transformation. It's just about them knowing how to do it and then them wanting to do it.
And you're in the past 4 months, your transformation, it's affected me. It's affected several people that I'm working with. And that's how needed it is when someone's feeling that good, because it just starts infecting everyone else that's in the, you know, their vicinity. And there's 3 or 4 people directly right now that you're helping right now. Like, yeah, I'm showing it to them, but it's because of your transformation. And it's possible because like, oh, like Marc works with him, you know, right? So you're helping people right now just by doing what you did.
It's going to be contagious.
Yes.
You know, we want to have that infectious energy. And now I feel like I have something, you know, I've always had something to share or like good advice to give, but now I feel like I've really leveled up that and I could really bring people way more value than I have in the past. And another thing I'm super excited about is like, I know we have kind of global expectations where we want to take this and reach many people, but it's going to be so fun that it's starting on the ground level with our friends and family. And neighbors and coworkers. Like I've told so many people about it and I could just tell their interest. When's it coming out? You know, and I have a podcast already. Shout out to Crown Rest Podcast and Community. We have 387 episodes streaming. And, you know, that's for basketball officials. That's for people connected to basketball, sports fans, right? But I'm not going to tell my neighbor about my podcast for referees, right? I'm not really going to go tell my coworker about that. What we're doing right now is something that we're going to be able to give to everyone that we encounter. I plan on giving it to everybody.
I felt that so long for you, you know, seeing how great you are with content, how passionate you are. And I always said, like, the type of stuff that you're giving to people, you don't need to, at the time, you don't need to limit that to the audience that you're in right now, because it's like so outstanding what it is that you're doing. It's like, yeah, you're talking about communication stuff and, with officials, but I mean, that's really, everyone needs that outlook. You know what I mean? So for a long time, I think, I've wanted you to do this, talk to more people. And now that you're doing the health stuff a little bit more specifically, you're doing that. It's cool.
You were an inspiration too, because just you giving me that feedback and that insight to kind of let me know that my skills are bigger than what I'm doing. And that's for everybody listening too. Like, you're not necessarily meant to do exactly what you're doing at this current moment.
Yeah.
Change can happen quickly and abruptly, and for the good or better. And, we're trying to impact change for the better and always be in a constant state of evolution.
The Matrix was trying to make you stay only in one lane.
Right.
Yeah. But you're opening up. You're getting out of the left lane. You're getting out of the right lane and going into the left. And
So let's just talk about just to stay on the transformation topic. And then I have a bunch of other questions for you.
Cool.
I just wrote down the visualization of my transformation was one thing that I can point to and say it was really strong. So what I mean by that was September 3rd, the day I pretty much woke up to my wellness. I just knew I was headed in the best direction ever. I knew I was going to transform into the greatest shape of my life. It was a lock, Mark. It was guaranteed. You remember, I came into the gym 3 days into my transformation because I don't think I worked out the first 2 days. And then by day 3, you kind of saw me 72 hours in. So I just wanted to hear your feedback, because I know I was speaking a lot of optimism into existence, but hopefully you could have saw my level of determination and how serious I was. But I think it's important to identify those shift points in people's lives where they make that change and it's just off to the races. So what did you see in me that day with regards to my visualization?
It's usually that, 3 days is short, but it's usually that removing those little, they don't seem like they matter, because it's, the moderation thing we were talking about. But when you remove all that dirty little stuff, and start not spiking your blood sugar all the time because you're not looking at, your protein intake the same way or whatever, that's usually the immediate effect that I notice on people. And I'm happy you felt it. Now, it's like I can sit here and we were talking about it last time. I can talk to you all about this stuff, all the science of it. It means absolutely nothing until you experience it. It means nothing. Yeah. Like, until you feel it. And that's what I want for people. It's like, when you feel that, you're going to understand what I'm saying about, you have no idea how negative you're feeling consuming what you're, consuming. And when you remove that and you feel that feeling of you coming in the gym, and I mean, it's literally like on your face when you walk in, you can see it off your skin. It's
radiating.
Yeah. Your body was stressed from what it was consuming, and, and you were confusing it like, oh, well, I'm working out, I'm exercising all the time. You hit the other, the other side of the coin, and you looked great walking in.
It's just extreme internal belief and just a command, right? So I want listeners to feel that, because that's going to really empower you to get it done. And I feel that same visualization with Dialed In, with the podcast. Like, I know where this is going. Yeah. Like, it's exciting.
You are dialed in right now. Yes.
So what does dialed in mean to you?
Dialed in to me means in every, not just the way that you're eating, but health, mental, physical, emotional, that you're trying to tap into max level, in that component that you're focusing on. I usually refer to that a lot with, maybe athletes, and you see who's dialed in and who's not, and they're trying to control, they're trying to hit every variable that makes them better. And I think that resonates with you and me, and a lot of what we talked about over the past 4 years being around each other is working on those things, not just fitness, it could be, we've talked about this stuff, communication. We went through it yesterday, on Friday when we were talking about switching our name.
By the way, that was as negative as I will get, and I do apologize for
but that's like
my
a perfect
behavior.
example of how something, and you've changed my perspective on that, of communication. That could have been a completely different experience if I matched your level of negativity.
I got to be honest with you. I was so impressed just listening to your calmness throughout it, and it wasn't that intense.
I thought it was a
conversation.
No,
just for me, it was like, wow, I really hit rock bottom. My wife walked in, she said, I was a little tense. I'm like, Johnny, I know you walked in at a bad time. It wasn't that tense. I love Mark. It's all good. But I was a little bitter that we were changing the name. But the point is, you stayed so calm and positive. It was perfect. Great job.
I was showing you what you
tasted my own medicine.
What you taught me. I've learned well. No, it's a great example, and I notice it all the time throughout my day. People I'm around, whether it's I'm at work or I don't know, normal social stuff, I notice that it's a big flaw in a lot of us interacting with each other as humans. It's really communication. It's everything. And if you can just change your approach on that and try to look at things a little differently, I just think it will make everyone move forward much, much quicker, rather than soaking in negative things. And then 5 days are going to go by and then you're going to move forward anyway, So I read a really good book. It's about, Stoics and Stoicism.
Love them.
And the book is called The Obstacle is the Way. And, they talk about Steve Jobs. They talk about other, people from hundreds of years ago. And it's really, if you just don't focus on the end goal and understand that the process is like the obstacle, and you become obsessed with that, you don't look at the challenge and the wall, the mountain that you have to climb over as a problem. You just accept that this is the obstacle and this is the way that I have to go. And you don't sit in there and soak in it and be like, oh, can I climb this mountain? I don't know if I can climb this mountain yet. You just move forward, just keep going.
Is it an obstacle or an opportunity?
Both, yeah.
It depends how you view it.
Yeah.
So it's a poor mindset and lack of EQ that is manifested in poor communication skills sometimes. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. That was one thing officiating taught me, was to be a great communicator and study how to. But it goes way deeper into the well, right? The well is the mental approach. So
I went to your game the other day and you looked tremendous.
That's another reason why I think the podcast is going to do well. When you came to my game with your family on a Monday, the day after the episode, I'm like, hey, Marc's for real.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is a real thing.
And you said, you're like, don't get me excited. Because
you like to overcommit sometimes to me. Because you don't want to let me down, which I understand.
And you said that, and I'm like, I got home and I rushed and made dinner. I cooked and made dinner. I'm like, no, we have to go. And it was cool. The last time I went to the game, it was a year ago, and it was probably a month and a half after my daughter was born. And it was cool going like back there, parking in the same spot. And I'm like, it's a year later, my daughter's one. But Paul's going to be reffing. But you looked outstanding.
I looked good. The movement was good.
Your presence was unbelievable. You look like a peak specimen in your official uniform. Yeah.
So good to have my coach there.
Yeah, it was amazing.
And also, as the jump ball was going up, and I'm just like, Marc's here. I felt proud of myself, because not only are we great friends outside of the whole fitness and dialed in thing.
I was looking at you, observing you before the game started, and thinking that if you think that.
You were observing me, observing you.
That if you're looking around like now and you're like, wow, in 3 months, got very, very healthy.
But my point is as I was looking around, I was proud that I brought you into my life, and like, you're a big part of my life, because prioritizing health is number one on the list. So I'm just like giving myself kudos that I have a guy who has my best health and interest in mind. That's super important and a pillar like in my life. So thank you.
Got you.
Thanks for coming.
Got you, my boy.
I woke up early with the kids. By the way, I wake up early every weekend now. Usually, historically, me and my wife take turns. She'll sleep Saturday, I'll sleep Sunday. But now, since my transformation, I'm ready to get up at 6 every day. I'm not sleeping in. I don't want to sleep in.
Yeah, you're not waking up with crashed, bouncy blood sugar.
Right.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So it's nice to be able to give my wife that favor. She slept till 9 o'clock today. So,
nice.
But Lexi got up. She's like, Dad, can you make me a fort? So I built her a fort. And then she was sleeping in the fort. She said, Daddy, I want to go to school. Can you be my teacher? What's your name? I said, my name's Coach D. I'm not going to deviate from that, Coach D. But sure, I'll be your teacher today. So on the whiteboard, I gave her a little lesson. And today's lesson was the 4 types of health.
Wow.
The 4 types of health.
Amazing.
So I listed the first 4. So the first one is physical health.
Yep.
And this is something maybe I hadn't defined prior to me teaching health at my school last year. Remember, I told you I had an opportunity to teach in the classroom. So I use it as an opportunity to really increase my health knowledge. So there's 4 types of health. The physical health, that's the state of our body, includes fitness, nutrition, overall well-being, eating clean, fueling your body, exercising regularly, sleep, right? Then there's mental health, our mindset, our perspective, the ability to think clearly. And I didn't tell my daughter all this. It wasn't that complicated of a lesson. I just bulleted the top 4.
Sitting there looking.
Yeah. Just the ability to think clearly, focus, and process information effectively. Some examples are practicing mindfulness, meditation, challenging yourself to learn new skills and hobbies, limiting distractions. Number 3 is emotional health, something I'm super passionate on. The ability to understand, manage, and express your emotions in a healthy way. So practicing self-compassion during challenging times or seeking support when you feel overwhelmed or stressed are ways to improve that. And then lastly, social health, building and maintaining healthy relationships with others. Yep. How you treat the people in your life, how you interact with your family and friends. So I think what we're trying to do here, I know we're focused on clean eating, but it really encompasses every part of health, right? We want to focus on our mind, the physical state, our emotions, and our relationships, because I think being dialed in to all of those is how we really optimize our life.
And we need that. That is fully needed in this field, when with health and trying to get people started and change things, because a lot of the people around health and that are trying to give that to people, it can become very abrasive and it can become very discouraging. And so I think it's a perfect melting pot of what your skills are, to give that to people, to get them to without discouraging them, to listen about this stuff, because it's it's stressful. Claudio was saying in the last podcast, like it's hard, and just being around you has helped me a lot at home, socially, of thinking like that and not being like, this is how you need to eat. Like, this is how you need to eat. That's not going to do anything. You know what I mean? So, it's really helped me, with my relationship at home, with my wife, communicating. I just think it helps with everything, just being able to communicate in a better way, whether it's about health or about other, serious things going on in your life. So it goes a long way. So I feel warm in my heart that we're addressing all areas of health, Awesome. Feels great. So I brought a bag and I got some props in there. Some props. I think that's what you call it. I just brought some show and tell items. I want to ask you some questions. You got beef tallow? Yeah, I got beef tallow in my hand. Check it out. Yeah. I got to order some. So I recently bought a new salt. Yep. The first topic I'd like to talk about is salt. I think there's a lot here. I have a lot of questions. Sodium is a gift. It's a gift, huh? Sure. So this is Baja Gold mineral salt, allegedly the healthiest and most flavorful salt in the world. It's 100% unrefined sea salt, contains no additives or additional ingredients. So I've been putting this in my water. I never heard about putting salt in my water since you told me like 5 months ago. So I want to talk about like hydration,
But let's just go back, because I think there's so many historical misconceptions about salt.
Yeah.
Bro, we grew up thinking salt is bad. Don't have salt. Don't put too much on your food. Salt is high blood pressure, cholesterol, heart attack. Salt, no good. So like, how did we get there? And how did all of a sudden sodium and salt be, just a vital nutrient that we need every day?
Yeah, so this is, you hit it right on the head. This may be one of the most important things to talk about, because it's what helps keep you hydrated. It makes sure, I was talking about this in the last podcast, when you're in college, you're learning all this stuff, you have no idea how to apply a lot of this stuff and what it means. For example, when your cells are doing what they're doing in your body right now, there's sodium potassium pumps like in your body right now, and 2 sodium goes through and 1 potassium goes the other way. At the time when I'm learning about this stuff, I'm like, whoop-de-doo, what does that mean? But from like a hydration standpoint, to be perfectly hydrated, the ratio of sodium to potassium in like your hydration drink technically should be 2-to-1, because 2 sodium goes in and 1 sodium comes the other way. So it's the perfect balance for that mechanism to work the right way. So this is happening across the board. We're demonizing things. I said it to you the other day about sugar, like carbohydrates, right? We are out of our control. We are getting these insane potent doses of, and it's not even unrefined sea salt. That's good stuff. It has more elements to it. Maybe there's traces of magnesium and phosphorus, in the unrefined salt, since it's not being like broken down too much. It's unrefined, right? So it's not being refined. It is so important. Let's go like a general population of people that like aren't exercising too much, but they're doing it a little bit, getting older, right? You want to be hydrated. If you are not hydrated, your body's insanely stressed. The issue now with like, sodium is bad, we talked about it last time about blood pressure, and it's the sodium intake and the carbohydrate intake, and it's 2 things that are just being consumed so potently in one sitting that it's overfilling your cells and creating pressure. Like it's like you're putting water in a balloon, and we're putting way too much water, and the balloon is ready to pop. That's what's happening. So we've demonized it because everyone has like this blood pressure problem. It's not sodium's fault. It's that you just ate a lean cuisine that has 1,600 milligrams of sodium in, a 500 calorie meal. So it's this insane potent dose of it that is the problem. So what I was saying to you last time, how you fix that problem is try to lower that in your diet and create a better environment for the sodium to effectively go into you the right way, which is putting it in a hypotonic solution, so like more water. When you're eating it, you're not getting that balance. It's like if I were to tell you, what do you think's better, eating a mango, or eating a dried mango?
Eating a raw mango.
Yeah, because you're getting that balance. There's this beautiful ratio in fruit that has its dietary fiber, but how the matrix is, how it works in fruit, is that it has this beautiful balance of water in it, and that's good for the sugar to operate with. When you rip the water out of the fruit, you're not eating the same thing anymore. You're just eating a potent dose of carbohydrates, and it has no water to balance and attach to, like when you're consuming it. Same thing with sodium. So this is how we've gotten here. We're eating all of these things, they're super high in sodium, and then we're pointing at sodium and saying, oh, it's your fault. It's not sodium's fault. You need sodium. If you eat too little sodium, your body will activate a hormone to make you hold water as a survival instinct. So when something gets too low, your body will literally try to like help you out and recreate like you are having sodium. It does that for a reason.
Yeah, before I was drinking salt, I never consumed sodium, so my levels must have been super low.
So now you have to be careful with this, because I run into this problem with certain clients when they immediately switch and they go all in, really, really healthy. And I tell them, make sure you're putting sodium in your water, because I'm seeing what they're eating all day. So I know they're eating really clean. And I'm like, you're probably not, you went from eating processed food, ordering out, you're getting a ton of sodium in that stuff. You removed all of that, and now you're cooking everything, meal prepping, and eating clean. You're probably not having a lot of sodium in your food now anymore. So you have to make sure you're getting that in through your water. So, you know, I see that a lot in people. So when you start to eat the right way, and now you're exercising more because you feel really good, you're doing more cardio, you're sweating even more, you're drinking a lot of water, so you're urinating a lot. You're sweating out sodium and you're urinating sodium. It's very easy, very quickly for that sodium level to start getting way too low in your body. And now the water that you're drinking, you're just flushing it right out. Your muscles aren't holding on to it. And it's because your sodium's imbalanced. So it's very, very important. And it's not, you know, we try to, how much sodium do I need exactly at the same time every day? It's different every day, dude. I mean, sometimes you sweat more than another day. Sometimes you come in and do a workout and you're like, I'm really sore. Let's do a mobility workout, a movement day. And we do that. You're not sweating as much, right? So
I don't sweat that much. Does that mean I'm not working out hard enough? Because I could ref a whole game. My partner's got
everyone's different.
Beads dropping off their head. I have nothing.
Everyone's different. I do think you are healthy and you're in good shape. So you need, and I'm starting to tap into that more with you. You know, I talked about the cardio aspect. It doesn't have to be cardio per se. It's just I know that you're going to stay at a heart rate the entire time. I just think you're healthy. You have a lot of muscle memory exposure to constantly jogging, being an official. So I think you need to tap in more to creating a change that you're not used to, which is you probably just got to elevate your heart rate a little bit more and stay there, and you'll start to get the sweat going. Yeah. But everyone's different. So your sweat loss rate of sodium is essentially hereditary. So you literally have a specific amount of sodium that you sweat out per liter, and so do I. Yours can be a lot and mine can be little, or vice versa. And that basically knowing that determines how you should be prescribing like your sodium intake. So I got my sweat tested and I needed 1,500 milligrams of sodium per liter of sweat. So if I have a liter of water, I'm supposed to have 1,500 milligrams in there. To put into perspective how much sodium that is, there's about 300 milligrams in a Gatorade. I need 5 times the amount of sodium that's in a Gatorade in my water. Say I'm playing 90 minutes of basketball, or I'm going to jog for 60 to 90 minutes. That's how much my sodium loss rate is. It makes sense to me knowing that now, because if I play basketball or I do something really strenuous and I do not hydrate the right way, my body is so locked up for the next 3 days, and it's because I'm severely dehydrated. And when you are dehydrated, it takes you about 48 to 72 hours to fix that problem. So you do not want to be dehydrated.
I feel stronger putting salt in my water too. Just feel more solid.
It's an extremely important electrolyte.
Go ahead, feel this. Feel this salt. It's different.
It's an extreme. It's so important. Sodium. If every athlete, if there's sodium,
put your hand in there.
Yeah,
you could touch it with your hand and put the salt back. I'll still use it. I'm not offended. That's how much I love you.
It's nice salt.
It's nice salt, right? And last question about salt. I know it says it does not have iodine. It's a necessary nutrient, but I see that on all the salts, whether it's a quality salt or a low quality salt.
I went down that rabbit hole of iodine. There's some...
Like, do I need it? Do I not need it? It's confusing.
It depends on the person. If I'm not mistaken, that interacts more with your thyroid. And in some cases, people who have thyroid issues, it can help them a lot. I can't stand the taste of iodized salt personally. It drives me nuts. I feel like I'm eating a battery. But there is research to show and support that it helps people with thyroid issues. Just take a whole bunch of, iodized salt. It's not that easy. You have to know what works for you, what's the right amount. But yeah. What you want to know? What woke me up about the importance of hydration in general, and sodium.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching one of those survival shows, and they're mimicking, having to survive, and they're starving. It's like day 3 now, and they've hardly had any food. 4 days. They're starving and they're dehydrated. They don't have a lot of water. So the guy finds a snake, and he's like, we got to get the snake, and we got to cook it, and we got to eat it. There's protein in there. And the other guy, knowing from his experience, he says, we can't eat that. He's like, why not? And I talked to you about this. This is kind of why protein is so beneficial in a way, because it gets your body to work. He's like, we're so dehydrated right now that if we eat any protein, it's going to dehydrate us even more. That was my light bulb when I was in college of how important it is to be hydrated, to break food down. That you will effectively break food down at a 10 times better rate than someone that's eating, even if they're eating healthy, that they're dehydrated, their body is not operating on an optimal level, and it's becoming very stressful to break that food down. And maybe it's going to take you 20 or 30% longer to break that meal down that you just ate. So ever since then, I've become obsessed with how hydrated am I, so I can consume more food and break it down to get more nutrients out of it. That's how important I think hydration is.
So in closing, salt isn't the enemy. It's about moderation and quality. Focus on consuming natural salts like sea salt or Himalayan pink salt in balance with a nutrient-dense diet, avoiding the excessive sodium found in processed foods.
Yep.
Adjust your intake based on your lifestyle, activity level, and individual health needs. My friend, let's shift to eggs. So same category or same historical misconceptions about eggs. We grew up being told to limit our eggs. Eggs causes high cholesterol. Now I tell people I eat 6 eggs a day. So I want to be able to give them a good response because, you eat 6 eggs a day? That's too much. So let's talk about, the cholesterol myth and what we need to know about eggs as a superfood.
So 80% of your cholesterol, your body's doing that for you. This is where you hear like, my cholesterol's hereditary. It essentially is. It is very important for your brain. So we've gotten to this point where, again, we're trying to point the finger at someone. Sodium, cholesterol, and we relate cholesterol to, do I have plaque going around? Do I have cholesterol really circulating around my body? And we're now looking at something that your body produces 80% on its own. It's very, very needed, right? Now we're pointing the finger at it and saying no more, right? It's the same thing I just said about sodium. We're pointing the finger at someone, and now some kid who's an athlete who doesn't have a blood pressure problem is not consuming sodium because, 40% of people who are over 50 years old have very, very high blood pressure, right? And then we're pointing the problem at sodium. Same thing with cholesterol. So the issue with cholesterol is that it's one marker, and that if your cholesterol is high, depending on the cholesterol, there could be an argument for do you have plaque really circulating around in your body and in your heart, for example, and is it going to get blocked one day and, am I going to have a heart attack? It's something serious to worry about, but it is not the whole story. And usually the issue with cholesterol is it's the combination of, is the plaque being given a reason to like oxidize and harden, which would create a block. And that's the exposure of high blood sugar. It's the combination of that environment of high cholesterol with the environment of, is your blood sugar high too long all of the time? And that's what will harden the plaque. So if you're eating a lot of high cholesterol food and you're not living a healthy lifestyle, not exercising, and you're never really burning your blood sugar off, it's staying too high all the time, your blood sugar, and that's what's going to give the plaque a reason to eventually harden, and that's something that you have to worry about. So cholesterol can be a marker that you really should be paying attention to, and it can be a problem, but it is not the full story. So my opinion from what I've been doing for 8 years on people is, like, for example, like you probably noticed, I don't know if you've gotten blood work done, but because you're hitting your protein numbers and you're eating animal-based protein, your LDL is probably going to go up. Your cholesterol might go up a little bit. So now people immediately get scared of that. Like, oh, my LDL's up. Now what? What I say is, what if, because you are consuming more animal-based protein, there's probably this correlation that because you're paying attention to eating 160, 180 plus grams a day of protein, that Paul is probably, the reason why he's doing that is trying to maximize his ability to work out, exercise more. So because your LDL is going up, I would assume that you're eating more of eggs, chicken, steak, right? And, paying attention to healthier sources of that. You're recovering better because you have a better amino acid profile. You're sleeping better. Your energy's better. Because your energy's better, you're not getting home and sitting on the couch and feeling like melting into the couch because your blood sugar's going all up and down because you're focusing on this protein intake in the way that you are, right? So my thing is, I notice in my lifestyle with what I'm doing with people, a correlation with, and you have to be careful saying that. It's a study. You want random people, 20,000 people. You want a nice sample size. So this is a very small sample size that, I'm talking about. But I've been doing this for a while, and I notice I have 4 people right now doing what you're doing, and they're working out more than they've ever worked out. They're running more than they've ever ran before. They're not eating dirty food. And I know that they're getting all of this stored energy that they kept storing in their body all the time that they weren't really using, and now I know that they're burning it. So this is the issue with cholesterol, is that there's a population over here doing something very different than you, and you should not demonize cholesterol. You shouldn't be limiting your use, your consumption of products that have cholesterol with your lifestyle, because it's allowing you, because of the amino acid profile you're getting from eggs, and to recover better and to preserve your muscle. And the longer you preserve that muscle as you get older, you are going to have very, very good quality of life in your 70s and in your 80s. Yeah. So this is the battle with cholesterol right now. And we have to be, we just have to be mindful that not everyone's doing what you and me are doing. So there are markers to look at that we should be paying attention to when it comes to cholesterol, and that they're not like, oh, it's not a big deal. My body makes this cholesterol, so it's not bad. It's a marker to pay attention to, and it can be bad for someone, but it also can be very good for someone. So,
and can you tell me the additional benefits between pasture-raised organic eggs versus just regular non-organic?
So, I mean, with anything, you are what you eat. So what I say is, if I'm eating chicken or steak, I want to eat what they're eating. So you're eating vegetables in your diet sometimes because you're trying to get nutrients, right? What you're doing when you eat an animal product is, especially like a cow, for example, but I know you're asking me about a chicken. That cow eats so much food that he can eat a substantially large amount of grass. So those vitamins that you're getting in when you're eating a spinach salad, you're basically asking the cow to eat it for you, but eat it in such crazy doses that he's storing it in his muscle tissue. And that's what you're eating. Same thing with chicken. The pasture raised thing is that what's the type of feed that chicken is getting? Are they getting a whole bunch of, are they getting essentially a fast food supplement diet?
Because the GMO is that's the processed
that's what most
grain that we want to avoid, right?
Yeah, that's what most feed is with chicken. So that's really what you're trying to filter through when you're purchasing pasture raised eggs, and making sure that it's not like BS pasture raised eggs. Maybe the chicken just can be grazing for an hour and they can just say, oh, it's pasture raised, right? So like that's why I'm I pay attention. I try to order from this farm. They don't give the chickens any soy. They don't give the chickens any corn. They're very transparent about, they communicate weekly on what they're feeding the animals. They let you know if there's a change that they can't control for that month. They're just very transparent about it. So you want to eat an animal product that you know that they're consuming the same clean food that you're trying to consume. So it's just like this nice, healthy cycle of, energy being passed through. So that's really it. You're just trying to make sure that they're eating nutritious, food. Bugs. That's you want chickens grazing the grass, looking around and looking for worms and bugs. That's what you want. That's a natural thing that they're eating. You don't want, who knows what's in their feed. Maybe we can even look up a chicken feed and see what's in an actual chicken feed that most places are probably feeding the animal. Yeah. I would also probably associate with that, if a chicken is getting a feed, they're probably gaining more weight. And if chickens are being pumped up with more hormones, things that you don't really want, and they're becoming fattier. Remember how I said a lot of toxins are stored in your fat cells? So when it comes to chicken, pork, right, fattier pieces of of an animal, you want to make sure their diet is cleaner. So it's like the fattier the animal is, you want to make sure that they're eating clean because they're fattier. Like a chicken, I think they only have one stomach. So they're not breaking those toxins down the same way like a cow would be, because they have more than one stomach. So because they're a little bit more fatty and they're fattier from their diet, they're storing more potential toxins. So you want to make sure that they're eating cleaner, even cleaner than the cow is eating, right? Because they're not processing those toxins out the same way. So that's really what you're looking for when getting pasture raised. I mean, you're trying to eat eggs to get a nutrient profile. So if that chicken is not eating anything nutrient dense, they don't just create nutrients out of nothing. They're consuming energy and nutrients to store it, to break things down, so they could be a healthier animal, so they can exercise more and go further out into the pasture, right? And you're trying to ask for that from them. That's what you're doing. You're saying, I'm going to take some of that. The eggs that you laid, I want some of that nutrition. That's all you're doing.
And that's what it's about for our listeners, right? Is identifying the source.
Yeah.
And going deeper than just the product, the package, what you see in the store. Thinking about history, thinking about the lineage and the life that this animal or the source, making sure it's a clean source. Because we only look what's on the surface level. We're so trustworthy of these products.
Yep.
And the foods we think we're buying, but little do we know it's not getting the same, it's not packing the same nutrient punch.
No, not even close.
Sorry to interrupt the podcast. Just wanted to thank you for being here and joining us on this journey. The fact that you're here shows your commitment to your own transformation, and that's something you should celebrate. We're here to help you every step of the way, and we want to hear from you. So if you have questions or thoughts or breakthroughs that you want to share, reach out to us directly at thedieledinpodcast@gmail.com or hit us up on any one of your socials. Now, let's get back to the podcast. Wait till you see this next item I'm bringing in. This is going to get me.
This is great.
It's going to get you excited.
I feel like we got a magician over here.
This is the world's most expensive water bottle.
He's got the flux capacitor for his water.
So right now we have a hydrogen water. Okay, I first heard of hydrogen water maybe 2 months ago. Never heard it in the 44 years of me being on Earth. But just to give you a little brief history, hydrogen-infused water dates back to the early 2000s. Modern development, hydrogen water has gained popularity as a wellness product, particularly in Japan, before spreading to the U.S. What is hydrogen water? It's regular water infused with dissolved molecular hydrogen gas. Unlike the hydrogen already bound to the oxygen and water molecules, this additional hydrogen is in a free molecular state, which allows it to be absorbed and utilized by the body. Some of the benefits, reduces oxidative stress, anti-inflammatory effects, improves overall energy and recovery, supports brain health, enhances skin, supports gut health. So I know a lot of these studies are still new, but I don't know, my intuition on it, I feel like we should get excited for things that potentially can bring you great benefits. Like we should be interested in hearing more and seeing the development of it. So I know I texted you last night about it. I've only been a week in, so I don't know if it's a placebo effect, but I feel super clear. I feel focused. I feel like my communication is much more spot on than it has been prior because I'm a little more clear. And I feel like my energy level, especially in the gym, I just have a little bit more endurance.
Yeah, I mean that seems to be there's
Take a sip.
there's a good amount of studies on them, and they're actually good. I got to really dive into them more, like look at the methods, look at how they collected the data on knowing if their energy does feel better, maybe for cardiovascular health, right? It's early. My opinion on anything like this is that as long as that there's no negative trade-off, like go for it. Especially if even if it's a placebo effect, doesn't matter. If you feel and believe, and as long as it's not actually doing anything negative in some other way, and you believe that you feel outstanding drinking that, go right for it. Because it's just, if you're getting up and you're like, I feel great. I'm not going to remove that feeling from you. Now, could it be that you just changed, right, everything about your diet, and really that's where that's coming from, right? And then you're just associating it also that you're now drinking this too, but you really, you're eating really healthy. It could be that too. But, I read a few studies, and a lot of them are saying, to your point, what you just said, it's early. They got to do more. So the approach on this kind of comes down to really what the view is on aging, which is that I just talked about cholesterol and plaque. What makes plaque a problem? It oxidizing. When something oxidizes, problems start to come. Oxygen can be oxygen is pretty destructive. It is. I'll get into that another time with you. So that's why you hear, if you think of what do you hear to consume? Antioxidant, to prevent that from happening. So there's this view on aging that it's just this constant timeline of your body oxidizing, and that's your aging process. And if you start to oxidize too quick, you're going to feel bad when you're in your 60s and 70s and 80s. But maybe you've prolonged it. Maybe, right? Let's just say 20 years from now, they really find that this is what we should be drinking all the time, right? Because you're stopping that process from happening as much because, you're adding more hydrogen in, right? So there's something there, the association of really what they're getting at with that. It's just that the body's a very complex system, and there's a lot of things that, it's kind of like the alkaline argument, is you consuming a whole bunch of alkaline based, products or, foods, water, right? Is it really helping the pH level of your body? It's hard to say. It's like your pH level is a certain amount in your stomach. So it's like to sit there and be like, this perfect alkaline going into my stomach, and it's going to hit my stomach acid right away and immediately be neutralized to the pH level that my stomach, has a pH level of. So, it's not just so, there's so many different variables, but I've read probably about 8 studies so far, and they say a lot of promising stuff, and they're not, they seem like pretty good studies. I got to really dive into them though. It's early, that's all.
Looks beautiful, right?
Yeah, it looks great.
It's like forever water.
Yeah.
Life juice.
So what do? You
okay. So it's got a charging port, so it charges for 4 hours. You hit the button once for 5 minutes of hydrogen pumps, or 10 minutes. I of course go 10 minutes, but it's measured in parts per million, I guess. When I purchased it, I thought it would be a continuous cost of filling up the cartridge, but you actually don't need to fill up the cartridge. It's just it always pumps hydrogen into the water.
Yeah, it's using electrolysis, I think. Yeah.
So it's interesting.
It's splitting the water into hydrogen and oxygen and dissolving the hydrogen back into water. It's pretty cool.
I just hear these things, and I'm like, where was this the whole time?
I've been hearing about this. It's just, I have a very a foundation of how I think about health from my education and what I've been doing for the past 8 years. So when it starts branching out into these, I look at these things as the small marbles that you put in your cup. And what I always say is focus on the big things, because if you only focus on the small, these little, maybe that gives you 2 or 3 or 4% benefit, right? If you just focus too much on all the small things and then go to take something big and put it in the cup, it won't go all the way through. So what I say is focus on the big components first and then pour the sand in the cup, because the sand can go through all the, the bigger components, whereas vice versa, it won't work. So, that's how I look at stuff like that. It's another edge that you can add. It's not the whole dinner. It's the lemon zest that you're putting on top of the dinner. And, it can make a difference in how good the dinner is. We're
going to look back at this podcast in 7 years and say, Paul was right.
Yep.
My next product that I'm super passionate about, I love peanut butter.
Mm-hmm.
It's the one food that I kind of binge on. Like,
I want to
just
see
by the scoop.
I want to see the. I just ran into this problem with my client. I want to see if we notice it on this peanut butter flavor.
If you notice what? We're not doing a live sampling.
So he takes Naked Whey. All right. I normally get chocolate. He got the Naked Whey peanut butter flavor, and he got the Naked Whey vanilla flavor. The ingredients on all three of them are different. I didn't know that.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just curious. I was just wondering.
All right.
Yeah.
So this has been engineered differently. So with this is organic ground peanuts, roasted ground peanuts. And let me just tell you a little bit about peanut butter powder. It's made by pressing roasted peanuts to remove most of their oil and then grinding the remaining solids into a fine powder. This process retains the peanut flavor while significantly reducing the fat and calorie content, making it a popular low-calorie alternative to traditional peanut butter. How peanut powder is made, roasting, it's pressing, grinding, packaging. Some of the benefits, it's lower in calories and fat than regular peanut butter.
Yep.
It's higher in protein, so I love that combination. It's versatile. You can add it to smoothies, oatmeal, baked goods, mix it with water to just make peanut butter. It's rich in nutrients. So I'm just kind of wondering, like, where has this been the whole time? And how did they make the peanuts smarter and healthier?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome having that. Especially with like flavor. A lot of people like I love that flavor of peanuts. And it can get expensive buying peanut butter, especially good ones. But forget about the bad stuff. But I mean, that's a great way of getting that flavor in. If that gets you to, drink a protein shake and be happier drinking it because it tastes like that without all of the extra fat content, because you're having a post-workout recovery shake, right? Then, it's great. I've been using the peanut butter powder for a while. It's really, really good.
I just feel like it's a slept-on hack. Like,
it's
healthier than peanut butter. And
I love peanut butter, but it's like if I have I'll get every now and then I'll get a clean ice cream. And I want a clean ice cream. And then I'm like, I want it to taste like peanut butter. It's much different taking 2 teaspoons of peanut butter and throwing it in the ice cream versus throwing peanut butter powder on it. And it tastes, you would think once it's mixed, you would think there's peanut butter in here,
As long as you do the ratios right, like the right amount of water, salt, and I put a little honey in there too.
And it's not that, like we were saying, like that fat is bad, that you can't have peanut butter with fat. It's just we're trying to find ways to make it easier to fit those macros in the right way. So it's if you can get a flavor in that's clean while not getting all this fat content that you have to take away from maybe a meal, right? That's what we're trying to get at. It's fixing hacks like that.
And I'm really fascinated with foods that have low calories and high protein content. So if you look at these macros, it's got 60 calories in 1 scoop and 8 grams of protein.
Yep.
And normally, so what I do, I add this to my yogurt. So I'll put every night. This is my go-to, bro. I have this every single day.
I love peanut butter powder.
a cup of Greek yogurt, plain Greek yogurt. I'll put a little stevia in there to sweeten it up. I'll add blueberries. I'll add chopped bananas. I'll add organic cashews or roasted almonds. And then I'll mix this, about 4 scoops, into a bowl with water, salt, and honey. So then I'll top my yogurt with the peanut butter. But I just think it's a hack. And I think you should replace your peanut butter with this. And I just wanted to share that with everyone.
Awesome. We got to start getting into omega-3s. What else you got in there?
So next one is methylated vitamins.
Yep.
I've never heard of the word methylated with regards to vitamins, so I went down this rabbit hole about a month or 2 ago and bought myself a methylated vitamin. By the way, if you're a vitamin and your first ingredient is high fructose corn syrup and you have red number 5 in it or yellow number 5, you can't call yourself a vitamin.
Yeah, it's just this is where being educated on supplementation, my professor went over this a lot. Finding what, works for you, finding what works for your gut, the cost, and making sure in terms of cost, like you're not wasting your money on bad stuff. You know what I mean? I'd rather you spend, $10 extra for something that's actually helping you than you, consume something that is $20 less, but it's not really helping you, or it's not methylated and you need a methylated B vitamin for yourself, So
do you want to tell us about methylated vitamins, or you want me?
Yes, you can start.
I'll start off and then you tell me what your research told you last night. So methylated vitamins are forms of vitamins that are pre-activated and easier on the body to utilize because they've undergone methylation, a chemical process involving the addition of a methyl group. Methylation is essential for many bodily functions, including DNA repair, detoxification, and neurotransmitter production. How do methylated vitamins work? They're already in active forms, which means the body does not need to convert them. Some people have genetic variations that reduce their ability to efficiently convert non-methylated vitamins into their active forms, so leading to deficiencies in even if they consume enough food or supplements. Yeah.
It's a big problem with folate, vitamin B9, vitamin B12. So one of the reasons why it's so beneficial to consume, because we never consume this stuff anymore, organ meat, we just eat, you just get the muscle tissue now. That's really what you eat, right? But a lot of organ meat, like the liver, that's where all the nutrients are going to the animal. So to get those vitamins, B9, B12, all those really, really good ones, you would have to eat organ products like liver. I get it from my daughter sometimes. I get liver and I freeze it and I shave it frozen onto her egg. It's just sprinkled on just so she's getting a little bit of that. Now, in this instance, if someone has a genetic mutation, the MTHFR mutation, right? They're not, it's like me and you were, hey, are you taking vitamins for, vitamin, B9 and B12? Why don't you get one of these liver supplements? It's really good, right? This person is taking that and it's not in an active form. It's not methylated. And this person's not even absorbing it. So it's like they're taking something and not even it's a waste of money. So it's good to kind of, know something like that. And that's where the methylated vitamin comes in. And really, all nutrition is about how bioavailable is something. And that's the difference between whole source food versus supplementation. The bioavailability is much, much differently. So you're not absorbing it the same way. It's why you get so much more of a benefit out of consuming the whole source than you supplementing something.
Do you think I need to take this, or am I getting enough vitamins with my diet?
It's really hard to get enough vitamins through your diet. It's a lot harder than we think, because you have a schedule, you have something that works for you, so you're going to repeat the same thing a lot more than you think. It's very hard for us to do the variety that we once were doing years and years ago because we farmed. So you ate something in the summer, you ate something in the fall, you ate something in the winter, and you ate something in the spring. And there was that beautiful synergy of the seasons changing.
I love crops. When you say beautiful synergy.
Yeah, you like that, right?
Can you say it every show?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
That's a good content. We're gonna have like a beautiful synergy counter. Bing.
Well done.
Yeah.
I see how you're thinking
Yeah,
post-production.
But yeah. So we should be consuming things in variety based on the natural transition of the seasons of right, of everything changing. Different fruits are gonna bloom, different vegetables are gonna bloom, right? So it's hard to do that when you have a work life and you're finding something that works for you and you're eating this same protein all the time and eating this same snack all of the time. So the more you exercise, the more you're using all of this stuff, and you're probably losing it because you're using a lot of it. That's where supplementation works more, because supplementation really only works when you're deficient in something. It doesn't really make a big difference if you're not deficient in it. So, to your point, yes, I would if I were you. You need every edge imaginable so you're recovering. That's what it comes down to. It's not going to do any harm for you.
So let's talk about me dialing in even more. How do I get smarter about everything? So like, for instance, how do I know if the hydrogen water is helping me? Like, are there...
You have no idea.
But are there measurements that I could take in a genetic test, or like...
No.
There's no way to see the improvements of supplementation, or...
There's too many variables. This is the hard part about reading research studies in general, is that if I pull up a research study right now and it says that when you consume pasture-raised eggs, your VO2 max improved by 4% over an 8-week, trial of us administering pasture-raised eggs into your diet, right? I have no idea if that was the only thing that was collected, right? And because you're doing this study, you're now changing everything else that you're eating and drinking more water. It could be from that, right? So this is where science comes into play. And I had the luxury of having very good professors and saying that a research study is not God's word. It is another view to look through. Take it with a grain of salt. It's not as easy as that. There's so many factors. I wish I can be like, pay attention to how you feel on the treadmill, and are you pushing 5 minutes longer, every week now on your cardio, right? It's not that, it's just not that easy. It's just not. It's maybe you're eating a little bit more food and you weren't eating enough, and now you're recovering better and your sleep is better, and that's why you're waking up more refreshed and you're able to exercise harder now, and your body's adapting better because of that. It's very hard. It's not easy. This is where science is very, very important in this field. It's tough. Yeah. It's not. I wish I can just tell you what you want to hear.
Well, I guess it's also how you feel, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, listen, like it definitely, like it can be that. It's just not as, in my field and how I was taught, I have to be very careful with being like, watch how much longer you run drinking hydrogen water. It's not that easy. There's way too many things that to do that the right way, I would need to see every variable that you're doing, keep it the same for an extended period of time, and then track your results in that time, and then do another period of everything's the same, but that's added in. And instead of you drinking Poland Spring, you're drinking a gallon of Poland Spring, the first 8 weeks, and then the next 8 weeks you're drinking, hydrogen water, and then the last 8 weeks you're drinking a placebo, which is, it's just, nothing. It's tap water from the sink, right? That's how you would have to look at it. And then that's just you. What if your body reacts to that better than it does me? And then I look at my result. Am I going to say, oh, hydrogen water doesn't work? Maybe it just doesn't work for me, right? So it's a lot harder than, just being like, yeah, this is great. But if you feel good, don't stop. You know how you feel, dude.
Yeah.
That's it.
I want to introduce a concept to you called facts over flavor.
Yeah.
Or we could call it fuel
I like
over
that.
Flavor.
Ooh.
What do you like, facts over flavor or fuel over flavor?
Facts over flavor. Oh,
So,
I like that a lot.
Thank you. Let me tell you what I was thinking about, because as I was telling my friend that I drink bone broth, and just to see their reaction, because she probably never heard anybody drink bone broth, and she was like, "Oh,
It's so funny.
it's disgusting. How could you drink that?" And I was just because of how healthy it is. It's like, if I could tell you, you could drink a clean protein shake that only had 100 calories and gave you 22 grams of protein and the collagen.
It's soup.
It's like, so those are the facts. Like, wow, I'm drinking it because of the facts. So I think a lot of times we choose the flavor. And part of being addicted to the food is loving flavor too much.
Yep.
So I know it's something we all love. Human beings love to taste delicious things. But if we could improve our relationship with flavors and choose facts and choose nutrient dense fuel over just the flavor, you're going to have a lot more success. So I think this creates a powerful mindset shift about prioritizing the truth about what we eat over the temporary pleasure it provides. It challenges us to move beyond the addictive pull of that highly processed foods and instead make intentional, informed choices about our body. The problem is flavor addiction. The food is designed for addiction by the scientists. It was designed. So processed foods like Doritos, they're engineered to be irresistible.
Yep.
By using artificial flavors, by using excessive salt and fats to hijack our taste buds. So it's a short-term satisfaction, right? And I want our listeners to choose the facts. So understanding about superfoods and foods like bone broths, leafy greens, wild-caught salmon, they might not initially excite the palate in the same way chips or candy does, but the facts make them invaluable, right? So bone broth being rich in collagen, having the high protein content. So just reframing the taste conversation. Facts over flavor, Mark.
That's how I started to really value food when I was in college. That's how I started to look at it, because I was bodybuilding. Was that I was just about like that approach, fact over flavor. My focus should not be the flavor. It should just be exactly what I need. And one of the things I did when I was at college, and it was pretty disgusting, was I went down the rabbit hole of nitric oxide. You were hearing everyone
That's the pre-workout, right?
Yeah, you were hearing everyone take the beet supplements, right?
My veins used to pop out of my skin the second I used to drink it.
Yeah.
As soon as it goes down my stomach, I see my veins pop out.
Yeah, it's trying to get at the premise of that it's vasodilating you, and it's creating more oxygen flow, right?
I used to get itchy too.
Really, the only benefit that you see from that is you have to get it, because it's very different than a supplement. You have to get it, and like that's what I'm saying. It's like you took that, right? I would have to see like what was in it. Was there beta alanine in it? And that's what was helping you with, fatigue resistance. And it wasn't really the nitric oxide, the beet powder that you were taking, right? So I read into it, and I saw that really where this was being administered was at the Olympic athlete level, but they weren't giving them a supplement. They were giving them potent doses of the real thing, which is beets. So I went to the store and got an entire jug of organic beet juice, and I can drink anything because that's how I think. Fact over flavor. I'll drink anything.
You say it well.
Yeah, I'll drink anything. If I know it's what I need and what's good for me, I don't care. I'll block it out. I don't care. It was so rough to drink. I felt like I was drinking a cup of dirt. I mean, it tastes like a potent dose of beets and water.
It tastes like dirt. I cooked beets for my wife one time, and I didn't peel the skin off. She said she was tasting the earth.
Yeah, that's.
She never had beets since.
That's how you know beets are good. Like you're tasting earth when you eat it. But yeah, I mean, it's hard. We're wired from. I mean, you're talking about 1-2 years old at this point. I see it with my daughter. I see it when I'm feeding her. She eats her food. Dude, when I go over and get they're clean, but still there's a texture component. Yeah. When I go and get the puffs for her that have this crunch to them, she goes ballistic. She's like, puff, puff, puff. And it's, it's playing with the texture. That's really what it is. Her brain likes it, chewing on it, hearing the crunch. So yeah, that's where we are right now. Is if it doesn't hit the flavor, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. No, I don't like the way that tastes. No,
Too many people don't like the way food tastes. I know I said in the last episode, there's nothing I don't like.
Effed up. Our taste buds are messed up. We think the synthetic taste today that's being manipulated in a way to satisfy you, that is the definition of, oh, I'm satisfied with this taste, and it's not. It's fugazi. It's fake. It's not. They've created that. That's not real stuff. You know what I mean? It's not. That's why people have a hard time with when I'm like, yeah, when you're sick, like remove. You shouldn't be eating a lot of food. You're really sick. You have a high fever. You want to create less stress. Drink all broth. Bone broth. And someone, that said, oh no, you're drinking chicken soup. It's chicken soup.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. I mean, depending on, like when I make my bone broth, it's just bones and apple cider vinegar. And then I eventually add carrots, celery, onion. I just do it for a little bit. And it's chicken soup, just without the meat tissue of the chicken. It's the same thing. Yeah.
There's one flavor I don't like. It's called tonic water. It's the only thing I don't like. But I haven't had it in 30 years, so maybe I've evolved.
Yeah.
But, your taste buds change.
Yeah.
When I started, one of my first transformations 15 years ago, I started eating more veggies. And I remember eating carrots every day, and they were the most boring thing. Was not interested in them. Yeah. But I just kept eating them. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I started to enjoy it and really look forward to the carrots, so that I finally came to the conclusion, like, wow, your taste buds can actually change. Mm-hmm. Like, force yourself to eat the good stuff, and you'll adapt.
Yep. And something that hits on that trigger I get like this, and it goes back to hydration, which goes to my sodium loss rate. I need a lot of sodium for how my body is, how I sweat, how much sodium I let out. When that gets imbalanced, that's the trigger in your brain that you're like, I just want a bag of Doritos right now. And you're craving savory, flavor, which is sodium, carbs, it's holding water, your brain, and now you're associating getting hydrated and getting electrolytes with your association with it is, oh, eat Doritos or eat pizza or eat this, right? So it's down to you have a sweet tooth. You do not have a sweet tooth for candy. Your brain likes sugar. You just associate that response with eat M&Ms, eat Snickers, right? But it's really just sugar in general. When you have that craving next time, just give your brain really what it wants. Give it some sugar, but make it fruit. Wait 5 to 10 minutes, the craving will go away. But then you might have, an addiction to texture. Pineapple's mushy. No, I want something crunchy and sweet, right? That's what they're playing on, dude. They're just hitting all those things on you.
In addition to facts over flavor, I'm also looking at food if it's getting me older or younger.
Yeah.
I'm asking that question before I consume it. Is this food going to get me older or younger? And I'm trying to only consume foods that are going to get me younger.
Yeah. That's how I think when I'm consuming food. Am I taking a step forward, or am I taking a step backward? And that could be on a micro level or a macro level. It could be like, me eating this right now, is it going to put me a step ahead like today for my workout? And then now you start getting to the macro level. Is me eating like this for this many days or months going to bring me a step forward on the year at reducing my body fat percentage by 1.5%, right? So that's a great way to look at it. Yeah, that's why I eat what you're about to pull out right now. That's exactly why I eat those, because I'm like 2 steps forward, getting my protein in, clean. Me, I need sodium. I'm hitting the 2 things that I need.
You playing footsie with me right now under the table?
Yeah.
Because there was some minor toe-to-toe contact. Claudio, call a foul on this guy.
That's you? I thought that was the table.
Getting real cozy with my foot.
I got excited. You brought the chomps out.
So I just wanted to show you. I thought it was a fun fact. I got one here that's beef, and I got one here that's turkey. Mm-hmm. But I was interested that the macros are a little different. The beef has 10 grams of protein and 100 calories. Surprisingly, the turkey has 12 grams of protein and 80 calories.
Yeah.
You would think with the addition of protein, there would be higher calorie content. So I wanted to hear your thoughts on that little macro breakdown.
So, let's see.
Why does turkey have more? I figured beef would.
It's just the fat content. That's why there's more calories in this. There's 7 grams of fat in this, and there's only 3.5 grams of fat in the turkey. So that's where the extra calories comes from.
Is the protein the same, or are we getting 2 different types from the turkey and beef?
You're getting 2 different types of an amino acid profile, and that amino acid profile determines how effective the protein that you're eating is going to activate the hormone that you want it to activate, which is GLP-1, glucagon. So there's an entire, so amino acids are, they're the, if you have a 10-foot ladder, a ladder that you're going to put on the side of your house or in your living room to put the star on a, maybe a holiday tree, for example, right? Or you're going to put lights on your house. You have a ladder, and the ladder's 10 feet. Because it's 10 feet, it has 10 steps, right? The whole ladder is a protein. The steps are amino acids. You need those steps to make one ladder. The amino acids helps create a polypeptide. That's protein. So when you're eating different proteins, you're aiming at what kind of steps are on my ladder and how many steps are in the ladder. That's what you're trying to do. Different proteins have less steps, so they're less likely in that serving to activate the hormone that you're trying to activate, which is glucagon. So beef is usually pretty up there on the amino acid profile. Just look at the animal. Look at how much muscle they have. Look how big they are. The ratio can be similar, right? It's just that when you're eating a beef versus a turkey, the cow's eating more than the turkey. So the what we were getting at before, I know the cow is eating 20 times the amount of nutrients as a turkey is. So that's why beef is so nutrient dense compared to a piece of turkey. That's how it works.
Speaking of beef, I was at Trader Joe's last night. I got organic, grass-fed, grass-finished sirloin steak.
You better get these away from me. I'm going to eat them, bro.
You can have one. Take one. I brought one for you. Take one.
Oh, I'm all right.
All right, great. I'll take it. It's not an issue.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got a steak last night. The macros were very impressive. 190 calories for this steak, only 4.5 grams of fat, 37 grams of protein.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah.
Outstanding.
Yeah,
it was $9.
Yeah.
So I feel okay about spending. I feel great about spending $9 on that
Yeah,
versus the $6 alternative.
Yeah, I play it like when I order from the farm. I've been working on better ways to, like, I can't always get ribeye. I can't always get, it's fatty ribeye. I can't always get strip steak. It's a really good cut. It's expensive. So I've been trying to find other ways, like sticking with ground beef more, sticking with, like, sometimes I get a chuck roast. That's the big one that you use for, like, a stew. And then I've just been getting chuck steaks, and it's, like, so much cheaper. And it's not too crazy out of hand with the fat compared to, like, a ribeye. And it's just, like, way, way better. So I've actually been, like, ordering that compared, like, in the past I'd order ribeye, strip steaks, a filet mignon here and there. Yeah, so that, that's what you're looking for. The more you can keep the fat down on that stuff, then the more you can afford to have it maybe through a snack. That's really how I look at it, so.
With the steak, I had sauerkraut.
Nice.
Like 4 big tablespoons of sauerkraut. It looked like I had a full salad on the plate, but all of that sauerkraut is literally like 20 calories.
Yeah.
Just another good, not a snack food, but it just gives me a little extra filling on maybe a dinner where I was feeling a little empty and wanted a little extra. So sauerkraut's been a go-to. What I've been falling in love with lately is figs.
Yeah, figs are good.
I got an organic 100% fig. I've been having that with peanut butter, having that with my yogurt. Super good. Kind of satisfies that sweet fix,
Do you like the beef sticks?
Yeah, I love them.
Yeah, I love them.
Yeah.
I just ordered I ordered them from the farm first. I've been inhaling them, running out already.
Every day?
Eating a beef stick?
I have a beef stick every day pretty much.
Yeah, I'm basically taking at least 2 of them sometimes, or 3 of them, and throwing them in my bag, so I just have them. So it's like I always have that nearby when I'm getting like, I don't know, maybe I'm training someone really long, a few people, and now it's a lot of times going by, and I'm getting like that imbalance starting to kick in, and I'm like craving salt. It's it just gets my protein in, gets some salt, just gives me a little something to like get home and, have the dinner that I'm gonna,
But way less salt than like more popular commercialized.
Yeah, it's fine. It's just I'm drinking, a lot of water. As long as you're drinking a lot of water, as long as you're drinking a lot of water and you're exercising and sweating, it's like stuff like that is a huge bonus for you. It's getting sodium back in your system, so it's not getting too low. It's bonus. For someone that is sitting at, a desk all day, is not really sweating, has not drank a lot of water in a while, I would say before you start consuming things with sodium like that, take a week and just fix your water intake. Fix that first, because then I know your sodium level is going to come down, and then boom, there you go. Now you can start eating those and not worry about the sodium content.
I bought organic celery too. I've been going crazy with celery stalks, just crunching away. Because again, last night after dinner, I was still a little hungry, and I look in my fridge to maybe do snacking that I would have done prior to my transformation. There's so many other things to grab. But the other day I'm like, there's nothing to eat. There's nothing else I could eat. I have a small list of foods that I'm eating every day. It's really not a very extensive list. So what did I find? I found celery. I'm like, that's a 0-calorie food. You can literally eat as many pieces of celery you want. You probably burn more calories ingesting it than you do consuming it.
Yeah, you should find a way to flavor your yogurt in a way to mimic it tasting like ranch, and just dip the celery in the yogurt now, and now you're getting like a whole bunch of protein at least, and it tastes like ranch. You could go
the savory route. Yes, you could.
Yeah. Or if you wanted something sweet, I don't know, I mean, you probably do like yogurt.
But as per the last episode, we did omit ranch dressing, seasoning. So you'd have to make it from scratch.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Good
like
dill, garlic powder.
Yogurt does that really well. If you use yogurt as the base, it's so easy to manipulate it. One of the I do when we get tired of just avocado, I just get avocado and I blend it and I add yogurt to it and lemon, just enough liquid where it has like a lighter texture to it. I'll throw microgreens in the avocado and blend it.
Good job.
And now it's like a sauce like over the steak and brown rice that I make.
Avocado and Greek yogurt are a great mix.
Yeah, awesome. So that's really how I think. Like, how can I have a snack but also get protein at the same time? And that's a good way. I mean, celery's fine. You ever have celery from the garden, dude?
I don't think so.
You haven't smelled celery yet.
Does it have a smell?
You have no idea. You'll smell it from 30 feet away. It's unbelievable. We have like a little garden at the house. I cannot believe the scent that this celery gives off compared to, what I normally try to buy, right? It's unbelievable. It just goes to show you that when something is getting a different density of nutrients in the soil, the difference in what's happening with the vegetable.
For my first teaching job, I did a demo lesson to a high school class. It was called Earth's Pharmacy, where I picked like 10 foods and showed how eating these foods impact this particular body part, and it also looks like the body part. Yeah. So for instance, celery looks like your shin bone. Yeah. Looks just like your shin bone. Your bones are made of 23% salt, I believe. We'd have to double check.
I'd have to fact check that.
But celery,
I don't know off the top of my head. Yeah.
The bones and the celery both have the same exact amount of sodium. Huh. And celery is good for your bones.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Look at that.
Another one was walnuts, how it looks like your brain, and it's a brain food. Another one was tomatoes, how there's 4 chambers of a tomato and there's 4 chambers of your heart.
Oh, wow.
Another one was onions. When you cut an onion right down the middle, it looks like an eyeball. Onions are good for your eyes. Wow. Same thing with carrots. Or maybe the carrot one. If you cut the carrot in half, it looks like an eyeball. Carrots are good for your eyes. So
I get where you're getting at. Yeah.
Okay.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was really interesting.
No, that's cool. Yeah,
there's more on the list too. I find it really fascinating, but just since we're on the celery tip, cucumbers are another 0-calorie food. Same thing with peppers, very little. They could be viewed as a little boring if you're just having them by themselves. Put a little salt on them. Put a little salt on the pepper. Changes the whole game.
A lot of this stuff is boring. It's just because
That's where
It is.
creativity comes in.
It's boring because you're removing the other things that are so much more like synthetically colorful, right? The flavor's not as boring, and you don't have to work for the flavor. It's just ready. Then that's really why we look at stuff like that and we're like, oh.
But if it's facts over flavor, then boredom isn't an issue.
Yeah, I know. You're right.
Facts over flavor, my friend. Coining a new phrase around here. And coconut water is another drink I have.
Yep.
I really only drink water, coffee, and like Spindrift because it's a 100% natural flavoring.
Yep.
But another thing to add is coconut water. It's really nature's Gatorade.
Yeah, coconut water is outstanding.
But you got to get 100% coconut water. A lot of the commercial ones, they add absorbic acid. We ain't messing with that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
we ain't messing with absorbic acid.
We're not messing with it.
No, we're not.
I was trying to look for coconut milk. I forgot what we were making. I don't remember. But I was looking for a can or anything, an organic coconut milk. I couldn't find a clean coconut milk. It was impossible.
Mm-hmm.
Which made me think there must be a reason for that. It must be very hard to get that substance from it and keep it preserved. So they have to preserve it. So it just makes me think, if it's that hard for me to get that substance and I'm seeing all these coconut products, how preserved other products, because when it's really in its natural form, it does not last very long. And I could not find 100% organic, nothing added to it coconut milk. I couldn't get it. Yeah.
My wife brought home a coconut water the other day that was slightly pink,
Mm-hmm.
and on the bottle it says like unrefined 100% coconut water. If you don't add any preservatives to it, does take on a natural pink color.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, when I went to Thailand, I was drinking a mango coconut milk smoothie every day. We're not eating mangoes over here.
We're not, right?
And we're not eating coconuts over here. No. The taste and flavor, you want flavor, and you get stuff that's like how it's supposed to be grown and it's
there you
right
can get
environment.
facts and flavor.
Yeah.
You can get both.
I was drinking a
Out of the
mango
States.
coconut smoothie on the beach every day. I couldn't believe the flavor of what I was drinking. You come over here and order that somewhere, you taste like, if you just ask, I just want mango and coconut milk in the smoothie, that's it. It tastes like water. We're not eating mangoes over here. It's not even close.
And I love mangoes. I can imagine how an international mango tastes.
It was the most absurd thing I've ever eaten. It was outrageous. And the coconut milk, how rich it was, how it was unbelievable. That's all I was having every day as a drink. It was awesome. Yeah.
What else you want to jam about, my friend?
Because you were talking about what were we talking about before? Peanuts.
Yes. You want to go back to it?
I do. I don't want to be scary, but a lot of the problem that we see with people today is, you hear a lot about like inflammation. Your cortisol hormone. It's not a bad hormone. Your body's getting inflamed to tell you for a reason. A big part of this problem is the omega-3, omega-6 ratio in your diet. The omega-6 being too high versus the omega-3, that imbalance, it creates an inflammatory environment in your body, and it's because there's so many chains on the omega-6. So when you're eating all of these nuts, peanuts, almonds, pecans, whatever, seed oils, you're getting a very high dose of omega-6 to omega-3. The ratio should be 2-to-1 of omega-6 to omega-3. And in the American culture, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's 30-to-1 or 15-to-1. So it's really bad. And it's because everything that we're consuming has a very high omega-6 content to it and a very low omega-3. So one of the things that you could do to make sure you're really fixing that environment in your body is consuming your snacks, nuts, and bringing that ratio closer, which is you want to be closer to that 2-to-1, meaning like say you have 10 omega-6, I would want you to have 5 omega-3. So fixing that ratio is very, very healthy for you. It's just very hard it's harder to get the omega-3 in. Like the best, I think, nut for it is macadamia nuts. I think that ratio is actually 2-to-1.
It's funny how the nut family all have very similar macros.
Yeah.
Same thing with the bean family.
They're very good.
They're very aligned. The legumes. You like the legumes?
Yeah, they're all right.
All right, not bad.
I like walnuts. I like pistachios. I like peanuts, but peanuts are getting high in the omega-6 family. That's really where the downside to them comes when you consume them a lot.
I saw Naked also sells almond powder. I think I'm going to switch it up next time and do the almond powder.
Oh, to try adding it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's see what has the highest omega-3. Let's find out. It is...
What are you going to do, research mid-show?
So omega... So, for example, the ratio is really good in a macadamia nut, but it's not a lot. The ratio is good, but it's not a lot. What has a lot of omega-3? Like, wow.
Yo, macadamia is a fancy, bougie nut.
Yeah, it's a really good oil to cook with. Very expensive, though.
Very expensive.
It's really good oil, though, to cook with.
Remember my grandfather used to bring home macadamia nuts. It was like, oh,
Yeah.
It's like, this is a different nut. This is an elevated flavor.
Yeah. Walnuts have a really high omega-3 content to them. The omega-6 is high, but the omega-3 is, I mean, almost almost 20 times more than macadamia nuts, pecans, peanuts, and almonds. Peanuts and almonds hardly have any omega-3 per ounce per gram, and they have a good amount. So the peanut ratio, you ready to hear this? I gotta make sure. But the ratio is like 1 to 100 of omega-3 to omega-6. So if you look at, how everyone's eating all the time, on top of, are they making that ratio imbalanced? That's where you start to see cortisol all out of whack and the stress start kicking up in their body. One thing at a time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot for me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Chia seeds are good. Flax seeds are awesome. I think they're like that's what you want in your yogurt. Flax seeds.
And hemp too.
Yeah.
Chia,
hemp.
flax, hemp.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the top 3 seeds.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's why you kind of, the whole approach on eating, good fish, omega-3 content. That'll start addressing that a little bit. Yeah.
Go ahead and empty your tank, so I'll take us home to the promised land. But I want you to make sure you get all your stuff out.
I'm good. You got me going on everything today. We talked about the hydrogen water, the methylated vitamins. I think that's important to know. I think that's important to know for people that, understanding that everyone's different and everyone absorbs things differently, and some things work for people and some things won't work for people. And, when people ask me, like, oh, should I go get blood work done? I'm like, it's always good to know as much as you want to know about yourself, so you lift under the hood and you know kind of what's going on and how to, maybe, fine tune what's under your hood,
Okay.
So
we're going to finish with a little perspective shift and focus on gratitude and the power of get to. Okay, my friend?
Yep.
So as we wrap up today, let's take a moment to reflect on gratitude and the power of shifting our perspective. Sometimes life can feel like a series of obligations, things that we have to do. But what if we flip that mindset? What if we focused on the fact that we get to do these things instead? You don't have to work out. You get to move your body, build strength, and improve your health. You don't have to prepare meals. You get to fuel your body with nourishing food. You don't have to show up for the people in your life. You get to connect, love, and share meaningful moments with them. That simple shift from have to get to reframes everything. It transforms everyday tasks into opportunities. It reminds us to appreciate the things we often take for granted, the ability to move, grow, and live fully. Some examples. Instead of, I have to go to the gym, I get to work out and make my body stronger. Instead of, I have to cook dinner tonight, or what are we going to cook for dinner? I get to prepare a healthy meal for myself and my family. Instead of, I have to wake up early tomorrow, I get to start a new day and chase my goals. Instead of, I have to work tomorrow, I get to use my skills and contribute to something meaningful. Instead of, I have to eat clean, I get to fuel my body with foods that make me feel the best. So gratitude is about recognizing the privilege of what you get to do every day, no matter how small or routine it might feel. When you embrace this perspective, life becomes less about obligation and more about opportunity. So as you go about your week, ask yourself, what do I get to do today that I can appreciate? Take that gratitude with you and let it guide your actions, your mindset, and your choices. Thank you for joining us on the Dialed In podcast. We're so grateful to have you as part of our community. Stay strong, stay grateful, stay dialed in. Until next time, Mr. Vaccaro, I love you, bro.
I love you, bro. I got you on the timing, Claudio. I got you on the timing.
Now can we do a real authentic
yeah, we can do it.
hug? All right.
Thank you for listening to the Dialed In podcast. We hope you enjoyed this episode. We want to hear from you and help you even more. So please reach out and connect with us at the dialedinpodcast@gmail.com or hit us up on one of our social media accounts. And remember to stay dialed in and choose to have the most amazing rest of your day.